Hello, hello. Happy Monday, February 23rd, 2026. How are you? Gary, Russell, how you doing over there on YouTube? I know I got the wrong image on the thing. I'll get that fixed later. Gabriel, hello. How you doing? Hans, you're ready for the fun to begin. Yes. So, yeah, it's been an exciting day so far. Good day. The postman just dropped off the DB322, huh? Nice. Yeah, I probably should have bought it, but you don't come across them very often. I got to be a little more selective now about what I get. Although I did acquire a new set. Well, my screen is all, there we go. Maybe that's better. The link you sent me is still available. Huh. I thought you bought that one. Oh, well. I did acquire a new desk set today. Thanks to my buddy Hans. And we're going to do a little something different today. We are going to try furiously to fit warranted number 8 nibs and number 6 nibs to some oversized kind of second tier pens and see what we can get. So that's the order of the day. There's not much else. And I've got I do have a desk pen I need to look at because I got 2 desk bases today. One's for me and one is not for me. So one keeps the missus happy by moving things along, and the other one keeps me happy. So I also did get my my buffing wheel in today. So that's been interesting. I'm completely clueless. I'm sure there are some videos on YouTube that will assist in a few of the stupid little questions that I have. But I did buff a couple of pens. They turned out okay. But there was like next to nothing for instructions on the that come with this thing. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But we're gonna figure it out. And yeah. You sent me a picture of the 2 desk sets that arrived today. You're gonna have more desk sets than me pretty soon. And Gary, I have not forgotten about your Crescent, the Conklin. In fact, I gotta wait for my email to catch up here, Russell. In fact, I had set aside, I looked it up and had set aside the Conklin book, but then realized you had sent that email to me and asked me about it on Thursday, which meant that it was going to be until today. I didn't necessarily want to bring in the book over the weekend in case I wanted to look at it for some reason. And then my cat was being naughty and was jumping on top of the book, and he has claws. And so I put the book in a different spot and promptly forgot about it this morning. So we'll bring it in tomorrow. We can talk about that. But it is absolutely pictured in the Conklin book. So we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, let's see. The picture come here. If it didn't come here, well, it'll come in a minute. Yeah, there's, I think, I want to say, if memory serves, it was a 1934 edition, the Crescent. Oh, all right, well, we're going to we'll continue on, and Russell, that email will get to we'll get to this computer probably. It's always a little slower than the one I have over in the other side of the room. So, let's take a look at the bench today. Here it is. Got a pen for it. This is the 20, oh geez, memory serves. I got to remember, 2140 medallion in jet. And here is a pen that we're going to team up with. Maybe I might get a different taper on this so I don't have to polish it, or maybe I'll just polish it and be done with it. So this is quite a lovely little set. Actually, it's big. It's got a little, must be the screw for the bottom of that. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a piece of felt over that or something. But the nice medallion series, it was big. These come in 3 colors: jet black, azure, and lime. Azure being probably the best color of the 3. But this is pretty cool. This is really, really a nice base. It's not gonna tip over. And it looks pretty impressive on the desk. Here we go, Russell. Let's see what you got. What did Russell get today? Oh, you got one of them there fancy glass Schaefer bases. I like that. That's very nice. All right, so we'll work with the pen in a little bit. We're gonna set the base off to the side. And this is the other one. This is, I just looked this up. I don't have everything memorized, but this is the 203 recorder. Kind of Feedmatic style top. And it is a ballpoint with a chain. And these always have a tendency to do this. They kind of suck in like that. I don't know, the cork shrinks, or I don't know what the deal is, but these are ballpoint only. And then there was actually a little, they would usually have an adhesive on here that you would pull off, and then you would just slap it on your counter, and then that was it. Kind of unusual in the chain variation. And like I say, I don't have many of the chains. But this one's pretty cool. I like this one. So, unfortunately, this is one of those that uses that standard Esterbrook ballpoint refill, which there is no modern equivalent. Although if you want to make a real big mess, you can pull this part out, and you can fit a Monteverde D1 or D132, Lamy D1, which is, I think they're don't quote me on it, M22 maybe. The little multi refill will fit in here, but you got to pull this out. You got to try not to damage this little part here, and then put it in. There was a number of years ago, I have one somewhere. Somebody made a 3D printed holder for this that you just slide the D1 refill in. I can't remember where the heck I have that thing. But it's a brilliant idea. It might have been somebody in England. I can't remember. My apologies to the creator if you're in the group. It's really the only solution for this. You're glad it's now in my hand so I can play around with all the refill nonsense. I mean, this actually I would use. I would use this more than I would use pretty much. I mean, now anyway. I mean, maybe not the chain version, but at least the chain version. Then at least you just kind of put it in, and you're not gonna just accidentally leave it over by the computer. You're gonna do your job and write with it, and then put it back in, and you're done. You're not gonna walk away with it. But they're fun. They're fun, especially in the colors. And then there's a deluxe one. I think the deluxe one came in a chain too. The deluxe one just has a little metal trim ring around the outside. That's all there is to it. But anyway, so that's a new addition to the collection. I'm pretty stoked about that. Lisa gave me all kinds of grief because the UPS guy delivered the package to her instead of me across the hall. And I got kind of the third degree. And then she came in 5 minutes later and said, "Oh, I really like those. Those are cool." So, you know. Anyway, let's see. I find a place for this that's not on my desk. So yeah, and I think that's one of those things where I've looked into 3D printing that that piece, but the development cost is pretty outrageous. I'm sure it would be. So, and it's a real back burner project of mine. And the way those things go is as I come up with the idea, or I revisit the idea, I should say, and then I talk about it, and then I kind of work it through it in my head, and then I promptly forget about it. So all you had to do with the pen was put a single coat of shellac on the section, as when you put it in the barrel, it comes back out on its own a little. Yeah. New sack had been put in recently. Yeah, and that's common with Schaefer. You might need to do that. So okay, today what we're going to be doing, in addition to taking a look at that desk pen so I can get that medallion out, I received in the mail a grouping of Warranted. I think these are mostly number 8, number 6. Large Warranted nibs. We'll just call them that, because we all know that a Warranted number 8 is not the same size at all. And I have a few pens that need nibs, or better nibs, or correct nibs. Let's put it that way. And so Hans was gracious enough to send a batch along instead of trying to figure this out in Baltimore. I can at least take these pens. I have some pens here. We're going to take them apart and see if any of these fit, and make them at least more correct than how they are. And I'll show those to you in a minute. Having a design made for a refill adapter like that is a certain money loser, but it would be fun to be able to use them again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've got, what did I count? I've got probably 20 Esterbrook ballpoints that if I had a refill adapter for, I could sell. That I've been collecting over the years. And these are the FJ, model FJ, which is J series. So marbled plastics. I mean, you know, I'd probably sell a handful here or there. But yeah, I think the development cost is to get it. I don't know how people like that, how people do that kind of stuff. You know, how do they take a physical product and then turn it into a CAD file and print something out of it. I don't understand how that concept, how that works. But you know, I've certainly done lots of things that are absolutely not going to be profitable in my lifetime. So, you know, maybe if I did something, and I certainly wouldn't be the first to market with this idea, so I won't claim that as mine, but first to produce it in mass, maybe. Who knows? I don't care. All right, so we got 4. Do I have 4 here? Yeah, I got 4. I got 4 pens here that are big favorites of mine. One of the vendors at California Show the past weekend posted a video of a guy walking off the pen. He had a camera pointed at the table of security. Yeah, that was Kerry Yeager that had that. All right, so I've got these 4 pens. And I think in terms of interest for me, I'm going to start on the right and work my way to the left. So this one here is really an outstanding pen. And these are all considered, you know, really pretty big oversize. This is a Century in this awesome mottled plastic. It's really cool. It's got this cool little kind of taper here on the cap and on the barrel. Really a great looking pen. Now this originally would have had, a Century nib. Now, finding a Century nib for this is, excuse me, is not an easy task. And when you look at what's in here, you know that if you know me, I can get this. Why is this not focusing? Here we go. I want this nib out of here. It looks ridiculous. It's too small. It just needs to go. Having a warranted nib in here is by far better than this atrocity that is in it. Hey Omaha, how you doing? You picked up a hard rubber eyedropper with the shutoff. It delivered today. Hopefully it goes well cleaning up and getting ready. What eyedropper with the shutoff? A Japanese or something else? Yes, the nib is very sad. You can see why I want to start with this guy. Next up, this has always been one of my favorites. Favorite brands. This is a very, very cool pen. It's called the Gibson pen, and it is by M. Ratner and Sons. And they made a pen called Yours Truly. It's marked on the clip there. And then there's the MRNS logo on the lever. And it says special, and it's marked a Gibson pen on the barrel. But what's super cool about this pen is this is lined red hard rubber. So that in and of itself is super cool, because usually red hard rubber comes in like one configuration and it's plain. This is lined. And then mottled hard rubber section, end cap, and top. Look at that. Look at that swirl on there. Top of the cap. And then this big, wide, gold-filled band. Big, wide, gold-filled cap band. It's just such a cool pen. But it has this very sad, destroyed Schaefer Lifetime nib that's been like cut off. There's no tipping. It's not even straight. It's just very sad. It needs to go away. And you don't run across big, oversized, lined hard rubber pens like that very often. Yeah, SSS, San Iso. Yeah. Yeah, they usually made pretty good pens. San Iso just means 3 S's, yeah. And next up, these two are from the same manufacturer. This one is similar to this pen that we were working on, we were looking at last week, and you can kind of see the difference here. Little bit different cap band. But this is a Lincoln, National Pen Products Company Lincoln. As in mottled hard rubber, and then this is a Lincoln in plastic, but it has this, again, this very sad plated steel atrocity in here, when this would have actually had a warranted nib. It's just ugly. This actually says warranted 14K on it, now that I look at it. I can't believe it's 14 karat though. Well, maybe this one I don't have to replace, but I bet it's never been restored, so we should at least take it apart and take a look at it. Some say warranted 14 karat gold plate. Yeah, that's not what this is. I think it's just nasty dirty. Now that I look at it. And then this guy here, I'm hesitant to do anything with. It's got this big warranted 18 karat nib, but you can see the big crack all the way through the 8. Crimped up at the top. What's up? What's the dilly? Dilly-o.
Looking for coffee. Hey, everybody. So, did you break anything?
I didn't break anything.
I'm impressed.
There, you can check my workout on the counter over there.
All right.
There's an orange. Am I going to make you coffee? You didn't ask me to make you coffee.
Never mind. I'm good.
I'm gonna make her coffee. Leave your cup then. Leave your mug. Just the barrel. I left the cap just so you can see the difference. I will need your assistance. No, I will need your help working on that. I'll be over in a little bit. Hans says hi. What do you mean, yeah? Okay, folks. Russell, you picked up that Tondel brand. I'm still not familiar with that. Tondel brand lever fill and ultrasonic. I would. If only you had a Cardinal modification kit for a salad spinner. Yeah. Okay. I'll be over shortly. I don't know what just went on. Gary, you picked up a John Bull red ripple hard rubber. Nice. Those were Conway made, right? And a Schaefer old timer safety pen. Schaefer old timer safety pen? Not familiar. You're pretty excited about the Sanisu. That's some oxidation. We're not willing to polish, buff it to get it out, so probably leave it till you get some Dr. G's. You're just not keen on $38 for about, yeah. I mean, I get it. It's not cheap. But if you've watched this channel long enough that I use mine until the bitter end. Smiling and saying yes was the right response. You can use that stuff forever. And if the parts that you're putting in are relatively clean, all the better. If you're putting in a nib section and it's got ink and crap in it, or a cap and it's got ink and crap in it, then its effectiveness, it does seem to diminish much quicker. But you can as long as we're putting in a deoxidizer anyway, you can even put it in the ultrasonic first, and it's not like it's going to be a big deal. I would also look though, just to make sure that you don't do much on hard rubber pens. Yeah, well, remember too, though, you've got, if you're doing any vintage pens, a lot of sections are hard rubber. And I know they don't always turn, but sometimes they do. Parker dual fold blind caps, Parker dual fold end caps that just twist. So there's a lot of things that are hard rubber that, Esterbrook sections are hard rubber. So there's a lot of little things, and also, and it's in the name too. It's not just deoxidizer. I've had really great luck, great success. I won't call it luck, but I mean, sometimes it's luck. Parker 51 collectors, getting those to be almost perfectly clean. Even after they've been in the ultrasonic, you drop them in the Dr. G's and they're good to go. I don't know if you saw it. What was it? A couple weeks ago, we had that white Delta, and there was ink in the cap, and I just could not get it out. And I dropped it in the Dr. G's, or put Dr. G's in the cap, and it just ate it up. It just got rid of the ink, and it was really, really quite nice. So, and if you keep it in, and I like to use, I've been using, I have these little, this is a shameless self-promotion moment here, but I have these little cups, what do we call them? Nib glasses. They're a little bit taller, but they're nice because you can put a cap in there. So if you're going to put Dr. G's in the inside of a cap, you can kind of set it in just like that. And the bottom was all kind of icky, so now I got to wipe that off. But soaker glass, that's what we call them. You don't necessarily want to put hard rubber in an ultrasonic, but if you're going to be putting it in the deox, I don't see the difference, right? You're going to get the ink out of the nibs feed section, whatever. I would put that in the ultrasonic, or the cap maybe. But then you're going to put it in if you're going to put it in the deox anyway, the deox is going to take care of what I mean. It seems weird, but it works. The seal on the Sanisu is original. Be careful about not pulling the rod out too far or putting lateral stress on it when it is unscrewed. I would fill the pen with water, seal side down for 2 to 3 days to rehydrate the seal. Empty it, wait a day, and see if the seal is good. Yeah, I mean, the other thing to consider too is there a coat of Urushi lacquer on that pen? If there is, then your Dr. G's ain't gonna do nothing. And oftentimes you got to remember, that in the 20s and 30s, Urushi lacquer on a pen was not a luxury thing, right? It was on a Japanese pen. Almost a lot of pens had Urushi lacquer on them. For sure. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't look like it, but you don't have it in hand. Yeah. I mean, the key is you look for those little bubbles, the little stippling, and you can, I mean, even if it's heavily worn, I wouldn't even put it. I wouldn't put it in the Dr. G's. Although they say, I think they said it was safe for that, but it's not going to affect the hard rubber because there's a coating on it. Russell, you saw a couple Esterbrook pens that are between the lever filler vintage one and the modern Esterbrook's being made now. They aren't but yeah, I mean, Esterbrook made a whole boatload of pens between 1955 and 1971. M2, one of my favorites, A101s. I've got actually a batch of CA101s right now. I was hoping to get to them today, but I didn't get to them. I've got them photographed. They're ready to go. They come with platinum converters. You can use them like a modern pen. You can use an Esterbrook nib unit in it. I say they're a better value than the modern ones, I think. But. All right. So this one's got a crack in the nib, but it also has a crack in the section. So I'm real hesitant to take this one apart. This one's actually got a gold nib, so maybe this just needs to be reset. So we'll take a look at that. These two are by far the worst offenders. But that Century is just awesome. So that needs to be, even though we can't find a Century number 8, a Warranted number 8 will be a much better. I don't even know if that nib is, that feed is right. Well, here goes nothing. I don't know that I've ever opened this pen up. I'm not one much for plastic Centuries. I much prefer the hard rubber pens, if you can find them. So the thing is Century's not all that common, so any Century is a good Century. Another consideration for the restoration of an early SSS is the construction of the rod. If you do have to replace the seal, it probably has the hard rubber coated metal rod. Those are super difficult and fragile to work with, go extremely slow with little pressure. Hans is the guy. Hans would know. So absolutely listen to him. And if I'm extremely blessed this year, I'm going to bribe Hans with all matter of I don't know what, local craft beer and who knows what else, and have him teach me how to do those. Boy, oh boy, is that stuck. I do see a gap, so that's good. When in doubt, always try to, most of these pens from the 20s are friction fit, but when in doubt, you never know. If it's a weird brand or something you're not familiar with, you always want to occasionally check. Is it threaded? What on earth is going on here? Okay. This one should come apart pretty easily. Hard rubber is always more forgiving. Hey, thanks for the subscription. Welcome. It's a good thing I didn't have that pen in my hand when that noise went off. All right, we're gonna, let's see. I'm hesitant about even opening up that Lincoln, but we're gonna get this one open for sure, just so we can clean it. So, true story, I may have told this one before about Century. I was once at a estate auction. And they had soda flats. And inside the flats were, this was a pen collector, a guy I knew, and he was moving out of state. And he sold off a bunch of his collection, and I bought a good number of things. It was on Valentine's Day weekend. Actually, it was on Valentine's Day, I think. It was like 3 hours away, and I came home with so much stuff that for the 3 hour ride home, I had my hands holding a case so that the case wouldn't go through the windshield. But there were slaughter trays of Skylines and 51s and all sorts of things. Might soak this one since it is plastic. And one of the trays, I noticed there was a really cool. What did I notice first? Well, I don't know what I noticed first. Let's just say it was the cap. I know it probably was the cap. I noticed a really cool green plastic Century cap. Super cool clip. Just really different. It didn't have a ball end on it like most clips do. It was like this lime green and yellow. I mean, just a really outrageous color. And I saw the clip. I saw the cap. I'm like, cool. Unfortunately, at some point, the barrel had been distanced from the cap and was in another flat, was another auction lot, and you couldn't tell them and say, hey, listen, can you put that in there? You had to win. You had to win both lots. So of course, there's crap in there that I don't want. I ended up having to, I successfully found it. I had to win both lots so I could put the pen back together. I mean, it would be impossible nowadays to find either the cap or the barrel for that pen. They were in two separate auction lots. Here was a quick subject on the Ink Dependence live stream last Friday. My name was mentioned. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's probably because I'm going to soak that. It's probably because I bring up all the time that Mike's blog actually started out as a beer blog, not a fountain pen ink blog. He started out reviewing beers. All right. If we get bored later, we'll try this. True story. This pen, what did I determine the other day? It was 2001. Was sent to Nathan Tardif to put a clip in because it had no clip. And the barrel was cracked, and I don't know if he sealed it or what he did to it. But yeah, Nathan worked on this pen. And Nathan used to do pen repair before he made his own inks and all that stuff. And he was... Well, this sack isn't actually half bad. Let's get this one open. Well, we need heat on that. But I got to take it off anyway. This one, I'm really hoping there'll be a nib that will fit. You're going to have to forgive me. I can't pronounce your name. My Mirrorheen. Sorry, that's as good as I got. I enjoyed an hour with you a few summers ago in the downtown shop, sampling pens and chatting. Grabbed a Lamy Studio LX. Wish I'd have gone with the Pilot Custom 823. It felt great to write with. Well, you know, you got what you got what you got, and you made a decision at that point. And I'm going to soak this actually before I do anything damage to it. You can always get an 823. They're not going away any day soon. I wouldn't regret that purchase. Mirror. Okay. The Lamy LX bewitched me with its good looks. Yeah, yeah. All right. We're going to let those soak. I'm going to go take care of my wife's coffee for just a couple minutes. So I'm going to hit the ad over on Twitch, but then so that we can come back and we'll be good to go for the next hour. But give me a couple minutes. Go grab yourself a beverage or do whatever you're doing, and I'll be right back. Thanks. All right. Sorry about that. We didn't plan this well. Usually at lunch, when we have lunch, Lisa decides whether she's going to make coffee or not, and then we make coffee, and then I always tell her, is it leave your coffee mug here, and I will bring it over, because it's 15 steps down, across the hall. Because otherwise she's just like, well, I'll just, just leave it. I'll get it. I'll bring it over, you know. But she didn't do that today, and here we are. So what was Mike talking about? I'll have to check it out. That's his stream on Fridays on YouTube, right? He does it with Audrey. Boy, I need to wash this. This thing is disgusting, isn't it? Let's see. Maybe just a little bit here. We'll do this. Downtown shop. Yeah, man, that was a couple years ago. What a great space that was. I missed that. That thing was a raw deal when we had to move. I mean, the Wisconsin Avenue shop was great, but much better parking. There we go. Always better to drop it in the ultrasonic just for a little bit. We can see what's going on here. This is hilarious. Look at this tiny little nothing. What does this actually say? Is it Japanese? No. Welsh Manufacturing Stainless, Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah, no, we don't need that nonsense. Dustin, how you doing? Thank you for your order, sir, today. It went out. It was like a who's who of like what was on the latest podcast. Pine, Flamingo. Tasha Rapp. It was really beautiful. Quite a vibe to approach to in that cool building. Yeah. You know, and what kills me about downtown now is the all this development that they supposedly did. They haven't rented out half of the spaces of all the people they kicked out. So it's pretty much vacant. Kimonosis, I remember you saying that you can use a ballpoint refill with fountain pen ink. What refill was that? Yeah, that's the Schmidt P8126 short capless refill. It's the same one that you find in the Retro 51 Tornadoes. And you will have, and note, you will have varying degrees of success with it. I think this is the one I did recently on my Retro. And it dried up. The Tasha pen rolls are really nice. They are really nice. In fact, do I have one here? No, I don't have. I might have one here. What is this? So this one, I forget what the name of this one was. Tasha sleeves and rolls from Friday are super sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing more. Yeah. This, I forget which color pattern this one was. They discontinued it a long time ago. some kind of Midnight Sakura or something, but it's not the current Midnight Sakura. I just loved it. I thought it was really a great. I've had more people want to buy this pattern, this particular roll off of me, than I can imagine. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful. I love it, and I loved it. I loved it so much that I had Lisa's mom make me one to the exact same specifications, and she's a real whiz when it comes to making things, and so she made me this really kind of a neat. It's got a little bit of a metallic finish to it. It's maybe not quite as stiff, but it's to the same specs as the Tasha. And then she's got her own. She made her own little thing to put on the end. The blue, silver, the wave, the mostly blue, the red. Yeah, that wave one is really calling to me too. I don't know why. Although I tell you what, I've been using this, which I got at the LA Pen Show for a long time ago, which was supposed to be an iPad cover, but I just thought this pattern was really beautiful, and the color was just something else. This is old kimono fabric, I guess. I guess it's upside down. Peacocks. It's just beautiful. And again, I had Lisa's mom. I said, this is useless for an iPad. I'm not going to put an iPad in there. So I had her stitch, put 3 sets of stitches in there, and then, well, this is the work of my cat. There used to be a little something on the end there, but my cat bit it off. But this was designed for watches, and I could put 4 watches in here if I was going on a trip or something. But actually, now that I think about it, I really ought to use this to travel pens back and forth from home, because I could only put like 4 pens in that other one, and this one I can put 8. So, why do you think that wave ink was in your order? Yeah, I saw that. Koya just came in and went out. In fact, I had to order more this morning. But yeah, the wave is really nice. It's a nice looking wrap. I don't need another one, but needs got nothing to do with it, right? All right, here's the hard part. Feed's a little chewed up, it looks like. Guess this one doesn't really matter because it wouldn't have had a warranted nib in it to begin with, but this is a number 6. Guess if I'm going to pick something, I should pick something that's got nice tipping on it. I saw one in here had a big wad of tipping on it. Oh, it's this one here. It doesn't have a number on it. This one might work because it's got a shorter shaft. Now, ask you about your rickshaw sleeve and case collection. Neat is not the word, indeed. Yeah. I just think the world of those Tasha wraps, those 8-pen wraps. I think they're really a quality product, and I'm not lying about the fact that I used to put 8 Namikis in there. 8 Yukaris, and you're talking you know, what is the cheapest you carry? $1,500? I mean, I had $10,000 to $15,000 in those wraps, and I would just keep them in my briefcase. Now, those are pens I was transporting to shows. Those are not pens that I owned. And the nib without the number looked like the most fun to use out of the personal nibs. Yeah. Which one was that here? It's got a nice tipping on it. Before I jam this one in there. Now, I got to ask, Hans, I know you said you weighed each one. How are you going to know? Did you take a picture of them? I just don't think that that's going to work for this particular section. I mean, I think this short one actually is probably the best choice. You have photos of each nib with weights. Okay. So I should not polish them until I take a picture of the nib that I'm keeping. Okay. Because I'm going to polish them. I'm going to say for now that one is going to go on that one. This stupid little thing. I might only do these two. If the other one's got a gold nib, I might leave it. And this other Lincoln over here, I don't know that I should be trying to take that out. It just kind of seems like a bad idea. And I don't know what I would be improving because yeah, when I find the correct century nib, yeah, there'll be value in that. I'm going to soak that feed for a minute. Yeah, would I find it? Apparently, the last ink used in this pen was green. You know, I bet I know what ink. I bet I know what color ink this is. This, because I don't use green ink. Not like this. This is Omos green. I bet this is Omos green. Because it was that really super hyper bright green color. And it was the 25 years ago, in 2000, it was the pen show ink color at Miami. That's kind of showing my age. I remember that show like it was yesterday. I don't know why. I remember just about every pen that I bought at that show. I bought a green SJ. I bought a Parker Dualfold Junior Franken pen. Flat top cap with a streamlined barrel. And I got a really nice, I think for some dumb reason I sold it later. A really nice Schaefer full-size balance in gray. Nice nib. Nice visual-aided section. Well, I don't think that's going to fit. Oh, it's like, wow, this one fits. Well, yeah, that's because it's... All right, let's get this. In an archive video, the tipping of a nib was gone, and you implied that was fairly dire. I wondered if that could be repaired, and then wondered to what extent you ever got into nib repair and grinding. It's a good question. Nib tipping is, or nib retipping, I should say, is not something, there's almost nobody does it. There's like one person that does it in the US. There used to be a couple people overseas, but I don't know that there was one in Spain, I think. There's just not that many people that do it. If you had the patience and the wherewithal, you would have an instant backlog of years of work. And you could pretty much charge whatever you want. Why not retip? Well, as I'm sure Hans will chime in, it really requires thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in tools, in equipment, and in addition to having to learn, maybe you could set it up for under 20,000. There we go. Thank you. In addition to having to learn how to do the tipping process, that's like a third of the equation. There's tipping, there's slitting, either of which can go horrifically wrong. Too much heat, you melt the gold, you slit it at an incorrect angle. And then you have to know how to grind it. It does you no good if you're no good at grinding a nib. It does you no good if you're the best retipper and slitter in the world if you can't grind it. I don't really like the looks of that one. And there's very few people who are good at all three. So not a simple soldering new stuff in the end. No, it has to be welded. Otherwise, the soldering part, it would just fall off. You know, it really, yeah, tens of thousands in tooling. This one, maybe? I hate to say it. If I had my choice of putting a number 8 or a number 6 in this pen, I want to put a number 8 in. You know, I think this is probably best suited for a number 6. So if you had that skill, you might as well be a jeweler for steadier work and possibly more money. Well, I mean, think about it. I guarantee if you were able to do that, you would have more business than you could possibly imagine. Because everybody would send you work. I mean, I would, you know, and if you have that ability to retip, you could, you know, fix cracks in nibs. I mean, you do the whole what John Matoshaw used to do. You know, and then you've got crack repair. I mean, you've got all sorts of options. Make easier money doing jewelry or watch case repair with your laser welder. Yeah. That could probably do that. But I mean, you could instantly have a backlog of 12 months instantly. You're not skilled, you know enough to be dangerous. Yeah. Okay, I think those two are going to work. That's the unmarked. I mean, as long as it's going in a century. I'm wondering if maybe is now the time to start using those new reamers, or if heat alone is going to be enough to get that in. But this one has got a shorter shank, so this will fit. And shorter shank means less expensive. Yeah, retipping it's a shame that I mean the cost to entry is just one part of the terrible equation. And not everybody can do, and so here's the thing. I suppose you could tip and then slit, but if you didn't know how to grind, you'd have to send it off to somebody to grind. Well, guess what? Then you're going to wait on that grind, and then there's another step in the process, that another place for the nib to go missing or whatever. I've seen, I've been to the platinum factory, and I've seen them tip nibs and slit nibs, and you look at it and you go, it's not that big of a deal. Because they actually have this little wheel, and they wouldn't allow you to take pictures, obviously in the factory when they were doing it, but they have a little wheel where they put, I can't remember how many it was, 6 or 7, maybe more nibs, and then it would rotate and come to the bottom, and then there would be, I forget how you put the pellet in there, but then you have to put the pellet in, drop the pellet in and kind of line it up, and then the laser zaps it and melts it, and then they have another machine where they throw the nib into a bin, and then the next guy has the bin, and he takes it and he puts it in a slot. I think it's up this way, and then he pushes a little lever, and then the nib goes forward into the blade, and he stops it. It's easy when you have a factory and millions in tooling. Yeah. Plus, creating a nib from scratch is easier than repairing an old one. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see. I wish we could have taken pictures. There were a couple people, and it was funny because we go in the factory, and there are signs everywhere, and I'm talking like every 2 feet. There's a sign that has a picture of a camera and the circle and the red cross through it. And there are literally people, they paid for that day, for that hour and a half, 2-hour tour, whatever it was, that all they did was stand with the sign that says no cameras. And we were with a group from, gosh, where were they? Eastern Europe or something. I forget. Lisa would remember. They were from Eastern Europe, I think. And all they did was film everything, and just completely ignored, the 35 different no camera signs. Boy, oh boy, does this not want to come open. And it's plastic, so you can't give it as much heat as hard rubber. Oh, there we go. Holy cow. This is probably a case where I'm going to actually use section pliers only because it hurts too much just to hold it. There, mark that down, February 23rd. Might be the only day or maybe the second day this month I'm going to use a section pliers. There's the old sack. So we found on the last one of these, so these have this is a little plug at the end, and then this hole slots in there and then locks in place in the lever. So it's really hard to get out. So we can clean it. For whatever reason, it's stuck right there. I bet I can push it in though. We'll deal with that in a minute. Let's Just clearing off the, oops, sorry. Just clearing off the end of the section. All right. So for right now, I'm going to put the rest of these nibs back in the bag. We're going to come back to this one. We're going to come back to this one. I would really like to get that working. I think this one's going to go in just fine. The other one, I think I might have to remount the section. So we got new tools for that, thanks to Hans. But this is the point of no return, so I'm kind of committing to this. I'm going to get this section really hot. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work real nice. All right. So I've got to go that far in. I didn't press very hard, but well, actually, here's what I need to do. First things first, I'm going to take a picture of these two nibs. This one's actually pretty okay, but They are as found. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm committing to these. This one for sure. All right, so rule number one, don't drop the nib. But I gotta clean this up here. I'm a stickler for the underside of the nib being super, super clean. All right, let's hope this goes in. Needs to go in about that much more. I don't want to remount the section if I don't have to. Because if I someday find the correct nib for it, can't add material back. Actually, if we could just go in half that distance, it would be okay. That's a pretty deep cap. It's kind of a ridiculous length on the nib, but the feed is actually not too bad when you look at it. Probably, I mean, that's probably about right. It could go in a little bit more. But here's the back end of it. Looks like a Schaefer flat top kind of length. It should be okay if there's room in the cap. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I really need to make one of Ron Zorn's little inner cap measuring tools. That was slick as you know what. Goes down to there. Yeah, it could go in a little bit further, but Yeah, I'd like it to go in just a little bit more. Try a little bit. I don't know how much. All right, Gary, take care. That's better. This thing worked a charm. All right. I'll tell you, I hate working on my own pens sometimes. Easier to work on somebody else's. So there's plenty of old sack residue in here. Despite having already had a sack on it. Can't believe they put such a small sack in this thing. All right, let's sack these two up. Probably 20s, 22s. I fit a 22 in there. Maybe not the best choice. Yeah, I don't know what you would put a 22 in. It's a big sack. Crappy nib out of here. Uh-oh. I just got an email. What does this say? I really need like I don't know what that is. I'm afraid to click on that link. I'm not clicking on that link right now. These almost don't need to be cut. I mean, they do, but I mean, all right. So we got that. Those two done. Well, not done, but I do think I'm going to put some Dr. G's in here. No breather holes, but it's leaking out the clip area, which I expected. Let's see what this guy is. This is probably more pain than it's worth. Not much to that nib. That's gold. That much is certain. What if it's original? That's a lot of feed for the nib. Yeah, it is. But again, it's a it's a National Pen Products thing, so it's possible. They probably didn't anticipate that this pen was going to last 3 years, much less 103. One of those cost-saving measures that you wouldn't be surprised by. Underneath all this grime, do I see a crack? Now, this pen is not worth the investment in a new nib. I'm just gonna say that right out. And I'm certain none of these. Yeah, there's a Oh my. Yeah, this is one of those cases where I think the dirt is probably holding this thing together. There's a crack going this way, and there's a crack coming up the tail. The pen's really not worth investing any money in whatsoever, so I think we're just going to kind of clean this up as good as we can and shove it in there and call it a day. In fact, probably the only reason I kept it was because I had this other modeled hard rubber one, and I thought it would be cool to have two of them. But now that the grime is off, I can see it is actually marked Warranted 14K number 8, which is hysterical. Because there's no way that's a number 8 size nib. But a good example of how companies would stamp their nibs so that they look like they're trying to compete with the big boys. Waterman's got a number 8 nib. Well, so do we. What a silly little thing this is. And it's super, super thin. It's really a thin nib. Sailor was the ultimate winner with their number 200 nib. Yeah, I've never seen one, but we've talked about it. This thing is just stupid. It's paper thin. I don't even know why I'm messing with it. Because we can, I guess. Lots of grime in this. Makes me wonder if the number 8 nib on this one is even right. Sailor liked to be on top, though, didn't they? First to the pocket pen. Hey, let's do a 23 karat and a 24 karat gold nib. You got your new base refelted. You discovered you have a set of drinking glasses that are the perfect diameter as a stencil for the 8-ball bases, so there is no excess sticking out. Interesting. The 24 karat nib is one you regret selling. I'm trying to think if I had one of those or not. I know I've had plenty of the 23s. I mean, they're nothing to them. They're really super small. You're scared to try? Yeah, I mean, it'll flex once. If you look at it wrong. When you had an eager buyer, you couldn't say fast enough. I think I'm going to ultrasonic this cap. I know I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. Yeah, sometimes that's how it goes, you know. You got someone who's interested. You're sort of interested, not really, maybe, you know. Somebody else comes along. I got plenty of those moments. Similar, not similar, my Grand Seiko 56 with the linen dial. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to sell that one. Thankfully, it went to a real good client. He's retired now, and he posts pictures of his watch of the day or whatever, and I once gave him grief for not setting the date window. He says, "Well, Brian, I'm retired. I don't care what date it is. It doesn't matter." And when I had my 56 GS gold cap GS with gold linen dial, I mean, it was he bought it, and so every once in a while, he shows it on his Facebook feed. I kind of feel sad, but because you don't see him very often. And it was a it was a Christmas present too. All right. I felt less bad about the spring drive that I sold because the guy who bought it was kind of it was not a happy transaction. It was not an easy transaction. Indy, you forgot. I do have a question. I have an old inkwell that has lots of dried black ink in it. Tried soaking it for several days and still can't get it out. Do you think it would be safe to put the glass in an ultrasonic, or is that a bad idea for really old glass? Depends how thick it is, right? If it's real thin stuff, probably not a super great idea. If it's real thick and there's no chance of any cracks are in it, you would keep the old glass away from the ultrasonic, yeah. Yeah, because if it's real thin, you know, ultrasonic's going to bring out the worst of any crack. I really would like to get this out. And while this pen may not be worth spending much money on, maybe I can learn a thing or two about it while I'm at it. So that's worth something. So I discovered why I can't get this end of this bar out is because there's a litany of crud. Well, it's actually adhesive. That's why that section wouldn't come out. It's stuck. And I bet once I get it all scraped off, it will just pull right out. Which will make the section fit better anyway. There we go. We're going to let that's going to have to air out a little bit. So here is the end. So I'm going to wipe this off. We'll look at this. I wonder if this was a way for National Pen to get around everybody else's lever filler. So there it is. Pushes back into the and then this holds the end of the bar up, and at the same time we have to slide this into the end of the lever. So yeah, that's going to be fun to put in. Guess while I'm here, I can't quite get all this. It is a fascinating and that's a fantastic way to put it. Frustrating design. Now, when we were looking at this other one over here, I couldn't get this part out. This one had the same thing, and I couldn't get it out, but you can still I couldn't get that past this point here. But I was still able to get the sack in place, and I suspect that it's not going to come off, and with the pressure of a sack on it, it's going to stay in place. The nice thing about it is sometimes when you have these, I don't know what kind of bar you would technically call this, but the bar that connects to the lever, sometimes I take them off and I can't remember. I can't remember which way they go back in because sometimes there's a shorter part in the front and there's a longer part in the back. At least this way, you know which way it goes. So I'm going to guess we want to hook it in place, or do we want to shove this down and then try to, although trying to find this in the dark of the barrel. Wonder if I push it up. Well, it came out easily, so. Yeah, the time to work on cleaning the lever is when you don't have anything in there. Oftentimes you forget until you're testing it and you go, oh, there's schmutz under the lever. Maybe I'll do it upside down like this. Push it. Okay, so now it's back. Still attached. Ah, I hate these. Yeah, so that's got to go in from the back. So I seem to have misplaced my new hemostats. Oh, but there happens to be one right here. So let's see, maybe. Okay, so now it's on. Okay, so the trick is going to be keep tension on it. As I get it, I wonder. Would it work if it was the other way around? No. Or do I have to push it most of the way back? Get this lined up first. That's then how do I get it in that stupid little slot? Okay, so Oh, did I get it? So I thought I could see the hook on the end piece through the lever box. And then once I got it in the now I can see it right there. I can also see I'm going to do it upside down. It's almost as though if it's pushed all the way back, it slips out the front. Now it's still connected at the back. But it's out of the track. Maybe there's a happy medium. At least with the walls, you can use a square dowel. I like to think that that's the correct orientation, so that, and that's how it came out. So it's this way on the top, and this hooks into this, as opposed to it being on the bottom, because that doesn't make any sense because there's a gap at the top and it would sit there and then it would bump into it. So here it keeps it kind of in line. So I think what happened is I got it in the slot, got the lever in the track, and I pushed it. So if the lever was here, I pushed it all the way back, but then what happened was the end of the lever fell out of the front, as if this wasn't designed correctly, which yeah, a National Pen Products company, well, you know, watch this thing show up on eBay in about 2 weeks. Okay. That. Okay, so I got it in. I think the trick is you can't push it all the way back. But it's got to go. You can see where it is there. It seems like it needs to go back further. In other words, the section's going to get in the way because it's only. Only that far. It's going to go in further. It's going to go in further, and then it's going to fall off. Yeah, that's it right there. Boy, that's annoying. That is annoying. Note to self, never, ever take one of those apart again. Guess what? We're not going to take this one apart. Glad it worked. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Oh my gosh, it's almost 5 o'clock. So I've been screwing around with these 3 pens for that long. I think once we get a sack in there. So actually, let's see how far back this goes. It goes back that far. So that's about the front of where the hook, that little hook is. Just to be cautious, I'm still going to put it upside down. It's still a good length sack. Egads. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with the chat over there on Twitch. Looks like Hans has got it covered, though. I put that in there, that'll keep everything nice in place. What people wouldn't do to get around Waterman and Schaefer patents, huh? Like as if that was a good idea. Hey, let's copy the idea, but add the complexity of putting a little hook on the end and cats. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that. That pen's got a little bit of memory, so to speak. Oh, where's my cap? Schaefer loved to sue over its patent, yeah. At least I was able to get it out. I'll let that dry. Hoi, hoi. All right. I didn't even get to this pen. Look at that teeny tiny sack. We're going to deal with this guy next time. All right. Well, so tomorrow we're going to put the Century back together. The M. Ratner and Sons. The Lincoln should go back together just fine. We'll do this one up so I can get that desk set done. And what else we got to work on here? Take that home. This I'm just going to take home, this guy here. I'm terrified of cracking this barrel any further, so we're just going to leave that. That was the guy we cleaned last week. The grease jobber with the bad nib. I might pull some desk sets out tomorrow. I think it does. And it has a lot of memories for me as, you know, an early, very early pen, a pen that I bought very early on in my. I've had this pen for a long time. And you know, the clip was technically wrong. It should have this clip on it. Actually, I had an argument with Nathan Tardif over it, which was kind of insulting at the time, but whatever. So it's got a bad nib, a cracked barrel, and the wrong clip. I think we'll just kind of leave it as is. I'll just take it home. So we cleaned it up a little bit. I'll use my newfound Tasha wrap here. Hold these two back in. Yeah, that makes more sense. I don't know why I wasn't using this before. Roll it all up. So we'll finish these three tomorrow. I do need to take an assessment on some desk pens. So I've got a bunch of Schaefer bases down here and Parker bases, and I need to get a list together to see what I need to buy or need to look for in Baltimore, because you know that'll be here before you know it. I guess it's 2 weeks away, huh? A week? Is it a week from? Yeah, a week from Friday. Is that right? You didn't find any of the Esterbrook Deluxe bases in California? Or are you just not telling me? Is that going to be the game? It's sad to say. Yeah, we'll see you in Baltimore for sure. Anyway, I'm good. That's enough excitement. I'll call that a win. You know, I'll call that a win. Finally had a chance to watch the stream again. I wanted to say that your Parker Demi that I repaired is working great and you're so happy. Good. Very good. Have a great night, Hans. Thank you. We'll talk to you later. We'll figure out what we're going to do with these nibs. Yeah, so we'll figure out something to do tomorrow. And we'll go from there. So it's a good learning experience. So, you mean, you know, no matter how many years you do it, there's always something new that you're like, how the heck does that work? I really ought to mark this one down because I'm going to forget how the heck that thing went together. Maybe not though. We'll see. So anyway. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for joining in the chat. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your evening, great afternoon, great morning, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow, all right? Take care, everyone. Bye now.